Whoop-de-doos! Yamanaya here once again. Of course, that is a unusual intro because why not? This is a figure whose presence has already been alerted to most of you because one, you clicked the review, and two, if you've seen the reconstructed Femstar review, this figure was prematurely announced back there. So let's take a quick look at it. This is the Yamanaya / Subaraya Productions Builgamo from Return of Ultraman. This figure was completely loose, it came with no packaging, so just let's go. Looking at this face, I can say one of two things. It's either King Joe does not want a piece of me, or King Joe ain't got shit on me, because this is the definite representation of a robot monster from the Showa era, because screw King Joe. Screw King Joe. In terms of anything, this figure actually looks very good. Yamanaya, as I've said before with the revived Femstar review, or reconstructed Femstar, I keep flipping the two terms around. Yamanaya does a very good job with most of their scopes, and I don't believe that Builgamo here is much of an outsider. Now, there are a few, kind of extraneous details for, I think, toy safety reasons. This little, divider here between the, this mouthpiece and this bottom here, this part right here, could have been, I don't think was there on the original, and neither was the support for the reflector lens up here, because you can see that it's, there's actually a cable on the back. This is all done for toy safety reasons, and you had to forgive it for that. The figure itself looks nice. The vinyl color, I believe, could have used some work. It could have been more of a yellowish gold, but then again, this orange doesn't look too bad either. The gold itself looks fine the way it is, and despite some of the additional colors, the actual figure itself doesn't look too bad. And unfortunately, as you can see, the figure was molded leaning forward, and that's not something that I can really correct because that is the way it came out of the mold. Articulation-wise, Builgamo does not really have a lot, while the bottom of the figure is, of course, an entirely separate piece, and of course I forgot to show it off in the revived Femstar review, but right here is the Subaraya Communication sticker under the Yamanaya logo, alongside number 7, Builgamo, 1999, made in Japan. The entire bottom piece is separate, but it cannot rotate whatsoever. The only parts that actually do rotate are the arms, and they don't do a lot either. So you can kind of get him into his walking pose and have him shoot off his Builgamo missiles, but that's about it. Just because I forgot to show you, I'm going to try and make up for it by showing it to you now. Here is reconstructed Femstars, Kaizo Femstar, Subaraya Productions, or Subaraya Communications, and Subaraya Pro number 11, Bemusta Kaizo, 1999, made in Japan. But in any case, that is the articulation on Builgamo. Very much disappointing, but then again, you can't really do much else with this thing other than, having his legs kick forward, and that would be too ludicrous. What kind of review would this be if I didn't have any size comparisons? Because let's go. First up is, of course, the Bullmark Dangar. That's been my kind of benchmark figure for retro type figures. And it doesn't look too bad. Of course, Builgamo's got a lot more bulk and a lot more girth. But, Dangar's got that tail, so good enough. Next up, let us try another retro style figure. We're going to attempt to use Lako here from Pachimon, of course. And yes, don't worry, I am going to be doing a Pachimon update video that's going to be coming soon after my main computer is done crashing and being repaired and having its screen repaired. And finally, let's get on to the last two comparisons. Last three comparisons. First of all, in Ultra Hero Series, Jack looks actually fairly good alongside Builgamo. Now, Jack is a little bit, kind of a little bit thinny, a little bit, skinny, but I don't think it looks too bad. Of course, if you have the Ultrac like me, it would look even better. If not for the loose hip. And finally, what kind of review for Builgamo would it be if I didn't show him off with his master and controller, Bolton Sajin, or Alien Bolton Jr., the reconfigured Ultra Fight Bolton. And you know what, this looks pretty darn good. You can have, Bolton Jr. standing behind Builgamo, Or maybe if you know how to do green screens well, you can green screen him into his cockpit, which is right here. And it would look pretty darn good. Honestly, these two just look like they were made for each other in, in Monster Heaven or wherever. If Bolton Jr. didn't want to jump over and kill himself. But, yeah, the dynamic duo. Who knew you wanted them? Hey, a little bit of correction to myself. That part actually isn't. Right here, that part actually isn't a toy safety feature. It's just there on the design to begin with. I just noticed it before. But, in any case, what's my final rating on this figure? A 5 out of 5. Because this figure is just pretty much excellent overall. It's got a good sculpt for whatever it is supposed to be. It's supposed to be Builgamo. It looks good. It doesn't have any unnecessary details like the Bullmark, what's his name, Sasahila does. It just looks really, really good. And as a fan of the kaiju itself, I believe this is definitely one of the best robots, if not the best, from the Showa era. I am extremely pleased with the overall result with this thing, other than the fact that it's leaning over, which doesn't really affect it much at all. Now, the figure usually markets for about $50, and I say if you can find it for under $40, which is generally not that difficult because it's not a very high demand monster, I'd say you gotta pick it. I'd say you'd probably want to pick it up if you are a fan of Return of Ultraman, if you're a completionist for that series, like me or Dinah, or if you just like the character, you'd better pick it up. And of course, there is one thing that you would have to do, otherwise it would disqualify you as a kaiju collector. If you have the Bandai Alien Bolton Jr. or any Alien Bolton Jr., with the exception of the high-grade figure, you must get Builgamo. These two are just incomplete without each other, and honestly, if you don't get them, you need to turn in your collector badge, you need to take off your collector towel, stop sweating into it, because you are not good enough to be a collector. All jokes aside, that is the end of the review. Again, the final score for the figure is a 5 out of 5. This is Yamanaya, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!